Hi, so it's Dr. Fox and another video for BPD Awareness Month, and this one is going to be on BPD and understanding the process of change. And in this we're going to talk about the stages of change. Now, the process of change can be tricky for a lot of folks with BPD. And let's think for a moment. What in our world doesn't change? Like, what about ducks, rocks, chemicals, plastic, etc.? Everything changes. Everything changes. Nothing develops, right? Or nothing is just magically made into what it is and it stays what it is forever. That doesn't happen. There's always a process of change, and we're no different. But think about that. For BPD, that's a good thing. Because if BPD is this a culmination of maladaptive beliefs, behaviors, and patterns, and we do it differently, we can change to do it differently. Change is good. So let's talk about that, right? So now everything changes for different reasons, right? It can be a response to different internal and external conditions, and that change is unique for all of us. But it also follows a series of universal stages, including for BPD or for individuals. This process is called the stages of change. Okay? And we're going to call it the process of change, but the stages of change. This is pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance, and relapse. Okay? And we're going to talk about these stages now. In the first stage, called pre-contemplation, and this is no intention on changing your behavior, right? You're fine, no dissonance, no discomfort, you're kind of moving along, okay? So the next step is contemplation, and this is awareness that a problem exists, but with no commitment to action. You kind of know there's something wrong, but I'm not really going to change. I'm going to keep on rolling what I'm doing. The next step is preparation, and this is where you intend on taking action to address the problem. So you plan, right? You kind of have an idea, you're aware that a problem exists, and now you're going to take some action to address the problem. You're going to do something. It could be engaging in treatment. Action, this is an active modification of behavior. This is the ideal point for treatment. Doesn't have to be the only point, it's just the ideal point. When my clients are in action, I know that they're ready to do things differently. They understand they're going to experience some dissonance, but they're going to fight their way through it. They're in the action process. And even those that are in preparation, depending on the degree of preparation and how much dissonance associated with it, they're getting ready to kick into high gear and move themselves into at the action stage and move forward to start doing things differently for themselves. And once we're in the action stage, we learn adaptive strategies. We learn to recognize that core content. We learn how to let go of those old maladaptive beliefs, behaviors, and patterns, and wishes, and fears, and other components. And then once we've got the action phase down and you have a good sense or a greater sense of control over those BPD maladaptive beliefs, behaviors, and patterns, then we move into the maintenance phase. And this is a sustained stage, right? So this is that new behavior replaces the old. Now your default beliefs, behaviors, and patterns, right? And I just did a video on that. I'll put the link here. But is that those new behaviors replaces the old. Now you have new adaptive strategies, adaptive behaviors. And now you're engaging in things that move you forward, that help you get the things that you want out of life. And those maintenance is that those new behaviors that you learned are now in place and they've become your default. But what can happen is you can experience a traumatic event. That could be the loss of a loved one. It could be the ending of a marriage or a relationship or whatever it may be. And that can cause relapse. And what's important to realize and what's brilliant about, I think, the stages of change and going through the process of it is that relapse is built into it. And relapse is you fall back into old patterns of behavior. Those maladaptive patterns creep up, right? You see it a lot in individuals with drug addiction, is that they'll be clean for a number of years, they experience a significant stressor, and then wham, they fall back to a relapse. But what happens is, it's not like a monopoly board. We don't go all the way back to go and we're stuck there. We're starting all the way from square one. We're not. Where we are is sometimes folks will fall back to preparation or they'll fall back to contemplation, and it doesn't take them as long to get back into that action phase, to get themselves up, dust themselves off. I'm telling you, people with BPD are super resilient, and even when they relapse, they may take a couple of shots and they may stagger a little bit, but I'll tell you, they get back in it, they get back up, and they get to preparation, they get to action, they get back to maintenance. And then they go and they stay in maintenance and they stay there and they stay in that sustained level of change and they do things differently for themselves. And for now that we've kind of gone over these changes, it's important for you to realize, or to take a moment to think about where you are within these stages. For all of my clients, I like to determine where my clients are. I give them a packet when they first start with me, and the stages of change is in there, a little questionnaire that's actually from my workbook, and they fill it out, which gives them an idea as to where they are in those stages of change, tells me where they are in stages of change, and I'll give that to them multiple times throughout the treatment process so I know what's going on and where we are. It helps us both know where he or she is and the readiness to move forward. And if they went backwards or if they're staying put, that's fine. So we deal with it. We get ready. We go forward. One stage is not better than the other. If you're in contemplation, be like, oh, why aren't I in preparation? One is not any better than the other. It's just where you are. Attacking yourself for it isn't going to help you. So it's important to realize that. And so these stages it's good to know where you are. All right, and your readiness to begin or progress in treatment, or your openness to learning about treatment and other processes that are involved in the therapy and self-discovery process, which is a big component of recognizing BPD, understanding BPD, and controlling it. And it is possible. As I said, a lot of this material is also is from my workbook that was just recently released. And I think learning where you are in the stages of change can be really important and really empowering. Change is not always a bad thing, but it can be scary. But sometimes being scared means you're about to do something really brave. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and thank you very much. And there's more BPD Awareness Month content to come out. And thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.